The OECD says growth in the local economy is slowing down and is expected to reach just 1.8% this year, before decelerating further to 1.3% next year. There are downside risks to the growth. Amongst them, the non-supportive international environment, the recent flooding in KwaZulu-Natal, soaring food and energy prices, electricity cuts, and the consequences of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The OECD says electricity shortages are seen as the most pressing bottleneck to economic growth. It says it's important to hasten the reforms in the energy sector.
South Africa, what is interesting is there are reforms and plans in all sectors: infrastructure, health, social protection. And we already showed in our previous reform that there is really a slow implementation of reform. And I think what South Africa needs is not to design new reform, it's to implement actually plans that are here. The infrastructure plan implementation is a little bit slow. For example, if we take the transport sector, there is a reform of the transport sectors, the setting up of an transport authority, and this is already in the process for 2-3 years now. And so I think if we need to make a strong case is to implement reforms, implementation.
The National Treasury says it expects a slower recovery amidst the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine conflict. However, it remains committed to bringing debt under control.
Debt service costs limits our capacity and our ability as government to spend on critical social priorities and programs to alleviate the worst effects of the current crisis, as well as our long-term poverty, unemployment, inequality strategy to reduce these problems. Priorities such as health, education, social protection, as well as investment in the maintenance and expansion of growth-enhancing infrastructure will suffer as a result of our inability or failure to address the debt situation.
COVID-19 remains a downside risk to economic recovery going forward, as new variants may still emerge. The OECD says more efforts are needed to get more people vaccinated against the virus. Gloria Sefagomosi, SABC News, Johannesburg.